Today's book talk is not going to be about a novel. In this video, I want to talk about An Ideal Husband, which is a drama, a play by Oscar Wilde. The play sets in the late 19th century. Our main character is Sir Robert Chiltern. He's a member in the parliament, and the whole story revolves around a scandal that threatens to destroy his career and marriage. We have 5 main characters in this play. Sir Robert Chiltern, of course, his wife, Lady Chiltern, his sister, Mabel Chiltern, his friend, Laura Goring, and Mrs. Cheeky, the woman who threatens to destroy Sir Robert's life, who also happens to be his wife's childhood friend from school. This play is a comedy. If you haven't watched the 1999 movie, I encourage you to do so. It's so funny. One of my favorite book adaptations, actually. The play opens during a party at Sir Robert's house. Everyone is there, including Mrs. Cheveley, but she is there on business. When Mrs. Cheveley gets a chance to talk to Sir Robert in private, she tells him, of course, and she tells us about the reason she was there. She tells him that she has invested heavily in an Argentine canal project, and so she wants him to publicly support this project. So Robert tells her that the project is a scam and that she shouldn't have invested her money in it. She reminds him of the Suez Canal and how he approved of it back then. He tells her that the two projects are completely different and that he would never stick his reputation to this new project. So Miss Cheveley simply lets him know how little she thinks of his reputation, because he had once sold a government secret regarding the Suez Canal to one of her friends, and that is how he made his fortune. Of course, Sir Robert tries to deny this, but she tells him that she has the letter that he had sent to her friend, and that letter is enough evidence to condemn him. So basically, she's blackmailing him to support the scam project, or she would give the letter to the journalists and he would have to lose his position and maybe even face court. And if that happens, he would lose his wife's respect for him. She tells him that once he makes a public announcement of his support to the canal project, she will give him the letter. He of course agrees because there is nothing else he could do. And before Mrs. Cheveley leaves the house, she informs her former friend, Lady Chiltern, that Sir Robert will be supporting the new canal project. Ignorant that her husband was being blackmailed, Lady Chiltern tells her husband how Mrs. Cheveley was once accused of theft and that he shouldn't support any scheme of hers. She actually manages to convince him not to help her, and so Sir Robert sends a letter to Mrs. Cheveley telling her that he has changed his mind. Thus triggers the events of the story that will keep us wondering whether Sir Robert is going to save his career and marriage, or will he lose everything. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but at one point it would be up to his friend and wife to do something about this whole situation. Let's talk about the characters because they are very unique. He's an accomplished government official. He has a wonderful reputation of being an ideal husband and a model politician, but he hides a dirty secret. His past is not as spotless as his present, and he hides this secret not only from the public, but from his wife as well. So he feels that if she found out, he would lose her trust and even her love, because her love is practically based on this perfect image she has for him. In his youth, he was extremely ambitious, believing that money and power are everything. And to some extent, he still values those things and he's not ready to lose them. He is a static character. He does not develop even to save himself. And we even see him easily willing to surrender. Gertrude, or Lady Chiltern, is the play's female protagonist. She embodies the ideal image of a modern woman in the Victorian era, and that is to be educated, social, involved in women's issues, aka a feminist, and supports her husband's career. Unlike her husband, she doesn't have a dishonorable past. She's completely virtuous to the point that she could sometimes be obnoxiously too upright for him. In other words, she's the dignified and charming politician's wife. But because of her ideal principles, she could seem sometimes as someone who's completely detached from the ugly truth of the world around her. So she couldn't forgive her husband when he first reveals to her his secret past, and she couldn't accept his justification for what he did. She's the play's femme fatale. She's beautiful, smart, ambitious, and immoral. She's very deceitful, and so she's always compared to Gertrude, who's the exact opposite. She has just arrived from Vienna, and her return is like Sir Robert's past has come back to haunt him, which is a recurring theme in many classics. Since this play is a comedy, it's not a spoiler to say that things will not go well for her. But her end in the play is different from the adaptation that I told you about. So if you want to know the real story of what happened to Mrs. Cheveley, it's not in the movie, it's in the book. How to describe Lord Goring? He's witty and charming, so naturally all the ladies like him. He is the aristocratic and elegant side character who stands by his friend's side at the time of his distress. He doesn't want to marry because he likes his freedom. And he's over 30, but he doesn't want to admit it. He likes to have fun and be among good society, and so he's described by his father many times as being idle. His conversations with his father, usually about marriage, is one of the many instances of comedy in this play. However, when his friend's marriage is in danger, Lord Goring becomes the love messenger between Robert and Gertrude, which is so sweet. He's a philosopher by nature. He seems to have ideas about everything in life, and he gives his friends very good advice about love.
My dear Robert, secrets from other people's wives are a necessary luxury in modern life, but no man should have a secret from his own wife.
Once a man has set his heart and soul on getting to a certain point, if he has to climb the crag, he has to climb the crag. If he has to walk in the mire, well, then he has to walk, my dear Gertrude, in the mire.
Wasting your time, as usual?
My dear father, when one pays a visit, it is for the purpose of wasting other people's time and not one's own. Everyone one meets is a paradox nowadays. It makes society so obvious.
Do you always understand what you say, sir?
There's no such thing as a perfect marriage. The play mocks the children's attempt to create this perfect marriage based on social status. It's about love. And love shouldn't be based on ideals. The perfect relationship is one that allows for imperfections, like the relationship between Lord Goring and Mabel. In more than one occasion, Mabel insists that she would never change Lord Goring, and that she likes him the way he is, despite his idleness and sometimes even indifference. Also, it's about being generous, even sacrificing personal interests for the well-being of the relationship. Lord Goring is the defender of love, and so when Mrs. Cheveley tries to make him marry her, he cannot but strongly refuse her because all she has in this is her self-interest. In the description of the scene in Act 1, we read about a tapestry placed in the background that is called The Triumph of Love. It's a famous painting by a French artist that I'm not sure how to pronounce his name correctly. Boucher, I think. This tapestry serves as a symbol for the events of the play. The whole conflict seems to be revolving around the question of what is going to win over the other, love or social status. The whole play is a battle between love and evil. And with Lady Chiltern's understanding that love is more powerful than the imperfections, evil is defeated. All the characters remain conscious of their past throughout the whole play, and their past affect the events of the play in different ways. To both Lady Chiltern and Miss Cheveley, a person is defined by their past. That's why Lady Chiltern has no respect for Miss Cheveley because of an incident that happened in the past, and Mrs. Cheveley has no respect for Sir Robert and believes that he is politically corrupt and will do anything for money because of his past mistake. While it seems that Sir Robert has changed, Mrs. Cheveley proves that she is still the same person that managed to lose Lady Chiltern's trust when they were young.
I see that after all these years you've not changed a bit.
I hope I never will.
Then life has taught you nothing.
It has taught me that a person who has once been guilty of a dishonest and dishonourable action may be guilty of it a second time and should be shunned.
Would you apply that rule to everyone?
Yes.
Then I am sorry for you, Gertrude.
Even Lord Goring's past briefly comes back to haunt him when it's revealed that he was once engaged to Mrs. Cheveley. This fact almost made his friend Sir Robert doubt him when he finds Mrs. Cheveley hiding in his friend's place. This play was first published in 1899. It has a lot of ironic plot twists, which is a defining feature of Oscar Wilde's other works. The time this play first came out, Oscar Wilde was already a very successful playwright. You probably read his name a lot on the many quotes we often see on social media. Some of them I agree with, like, some of them I don't agree with, like, tell me what's your favorite Oscar Wilde quotes or quotes. That's it for this video. If you would like to support my channel, like and subscribe. My book, The Forces of Nature, is available on Amazon. It's the first book in a YA fantasy series. Book 2 is hopefully coming out soon. I will leave all the links in the description if you are curious to know more about it. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.